Hey, this is JP with Central Idaho Mountain Weather. It is July 29th, 2026. Looking at the sunrise yesterday, smoky sunrise over the Wood River Valley. And if you're still enjoying this broadcast, we ask you to do a one-time donation, or even better, sign up for that monthly sustained membership. Today we're going to have continued smoke, although it's going to be similar to yesterday in the Wood River Valley, a little smokier in the Sawtooth. Scattered afternoon thunder showers with some gusty winds coming through, and then a little bit more chance of thunder showers tomorrow afternoon, but not as widespread. Looking at the satellite this morning, not just a little bit of clouds right over Idaho, mostly clear to the west. A lot of that's going to depend on, or the smoke and cloud coverage today is going to depend on how fierce those thunderstorms can get. Now, looking at the mid-level water vapor map, this says how much water we have up in the middle of the atmosphere. That's going to help be a catalyst for these afternoon thunder showers. You can see there's a little bit of monsoonal air that has snuck around the backside of this high, which is still in place over Colorado. It hasn't shifted west yet, so we're still getting in some monsoonal air over the next couple days. That is going to help aid in afternoon thunder showers. Looking at the smoke quality this morning, in the Wood River Valley, we are sitting in the moderate and the yellow. It's still red over in the Boise area. I was kind of keeping an eye on the fires yesterday, and it did look like they threw some air support on the big grass fire. But first, before I get too far ahead of myself, back this up a little bit. This is the HER smoke forecast for today. So the darker the colors, the more smoke there's going to be. As you can see, starting out the morning in the Wood River Valley, it's going to quote unquote clear up. For the most part, might see a little bit of smoke waves later in the day, but you can see in the Sawtooth, it's definitely going to be smokier. Unfortunately, Boise, it's still going to stay fairly smoky, although it does look like it clears out better than it has been in recent days. We are going to have this interesting change where the winds are going to wrap around from the east and kind of push out the smoke back to the west tonight. And then Thursday, we have a little bit more creeping back in, but mostly going to be clear in the Wood River Valley. Okay, so a lot of the smoke obviously is coming from the Oregon area. They definitely hit it with more air support yesterday. I know locals have been kind of been upset with how little has been done on the grass fire. This is just stuff I'm finding on social media. This is burning in a lot of rangelands. I think of over 100 cattle have already been killed from fire. It's burning through sage and some timber, and you can see there are still some hot spots that have come through the night. So that is going to be the main producer of the smoke for the Wood River Valley, Central Mountains, and even in the Boise area. Today, the winds are going to pick up a little bit in the afternoon. These are looking at surface winds. So a lot of different things going on locally here, but you can see the winds are going to be getting into the low 20s in Oregon. So that could cause some flare up on those fires today, although I wasn't seeing that on the HER smoke forecast. So we'll see what happens with that. This is again showing, this is later tonight, but we're going to have some pretty big gusts in the 30s in that Oregon area where there's fires in the central part of it, not so much the big grass fire. Looking at the precip for today, we're going to have some chance, you can see some chance of early morning showers in the next hour or two. We'll take a look at the radar here in a second. And then those kind of drift up over the Wood River Valley, so chance of showers this morning. And then depending on how much the skies open up today. That'll increase this afternoon with some isolated thunder showers, mostly in the Boulders, Pioneers, and maybe Cary region. And that'll go through into the early part of the evening and not too much until tomorrow afternoon. So less coverage further into the Sawtooth and White Clouds for tomorrow. Interestingly enough, if I back this up and look at the NAM forecast for today, right about here, so right around 4, 5, 6 o'clock, you can see lots of scattered activity in the Ketchum and North area. So kind of a little bit, the only thing the models are agreeing on is we're going to have some thunder showers today, but where we have them hasn't really quite lined up. Play this current radar with the future cast here, so you can see there are some smaller showers to the south of us, not really creating too much for this morning, but if those dissipate and clear out, that'll give us better chances for thunder showers today. This is looking at the chances of how much thunder showers we'll have. Those increase mostly into around 5 to 8 p.m., maybe 9 p.m. tonight, where we're going to have thunderstorms, hopefully no fires, mostly through, if you split the valley, the Wood River Valley, mostly to the east side of the valley. This is looking at the Cape values. It's how much energy is going to be in the atmosphere, and we're approaching 1,000 for that, and that doesn't usually always happen, so I think we have the makeup for that to happen for afternoon thunder showers, bobbling a little bit. Temperatures, it's going to be in the upper 80s today, creeping up into the mid 90s by Saturday. Lots of dry air coming in on Saturday. Taking a look at the 500 millibar chart, you can see we're kind of right on the edge here for getting some shortwave troughs today. It's actually like a dry cold front coming through this morning, but those colors warm up quite a bit Friday, so that kind of cuts us off from that monsoonal moisture working its way up from Mexico, and that high starts to wobble slightly to the west over into the Great Basin more, so it's more situated for Saturday to push in those high temperatures, low humidities, and we might see some wind with this trough coming through. So chances are we're going to see some red flag warnings for the weekend. Not quite sure yet with how much lightning we'll see out of that storm, but we'll certainly keep an eye on it. We are looking pretty dry for the first week and a half, 2 weeks of August.